You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. If you're a smoker or dipper looking to make a change, you really only need one reason to do it. But with Zyn nicotine pouches, you can find many. Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch. It's made with only 6 simple ingredients. There are lots of options when it comes to nicotine satisfaction, but there's only one Zyn. Learn more about Zyn and find your reason to make a change by registering online at Zyn.com.
Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. Football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together with good drinks and good people. Smirnoff is the world's #1 vodka and is an official vodka partner of the NFL. And this year, Smirnoff is giving fans in select areas of the country a chance to win the ultimate game day experience. From tickets to sideline passes and much more, just head to WeDoGameDays.com until November 15, 2024 to enter for your chance to win. That's WeDoGameDays.com. Smirnoff, we do game days.
Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff No. 21 Vodka. Distilled from grain. 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age. No purchase necessary. 21 plus. Ends November 15, 2024. See rules at website for participating area and other important details. Sponsored by Diageo Americas, Inc., New York, New York.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings.
Why are you listening to this show?
The podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Lebitard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
I can't believe it took me this long to get to it. I am delayed, and I need to apologize to our local audience, to people who care about Greg Cote, and to America. Greg Cote says, and he is willing to make this a pronouncement. He is saying this flatly in the middle of a playoff season. If Messi doesn't get past Atlanta, Greg Cote has said the season is officially a disappointment.
Yep.
For sure.
Officially. He's willing to make it official.
Yeah, it's big.
If Messi loses to Atlanta and Inter Miami loses to Atlanta after being an overwhelming favorite and one of the best teams we've ever seen in MLS,
right?
Officially, Greg Cote's willing to make it a disappointment.
Sure, because of that. Because they won the Supporters' Shield for the best regular season record this season, best regular season record ever. So obviously, and it's Messi, so naturally the betting odds favor Inter Miami to win the MLS Cup. Because of that, because of all those things, you have to win the MLS Cup. This is why they brought him here. This is his first full season with the club, one of only 2 full seasons that he's going to play with the club. You have to win the league championship. That's the starting point. Now, I want to make one thing clear. From a financial standpoint, his time with Inter Miami has already been a raging success. For Miami, for MLS, for soccer in
Wait
America.
a minute. If it's a raging success, how can it be an official disappointment?
It'll be an official disappointment because he won't have done what they hope to bring him here.
He's saying from a business standpoint.
But it can't be a raging success over here and an official disappointment.
No, it can.
Absolutely
can.
can.
It can.
No.
It can.
Yes, it can.
No, if it's a raging but if it's a raging success, it can't officially be a disappointment.
Well, the season can officially be a disappointment.
But not
What's
if
happening
it's a
on the
raging
field?
success.
No, you can have success off the field and not have success on the field.
Yeah, I'm surprised Levitard doesn't understand that.
Right,
we're talking about raging success from the business money standpoint, but not the on-field product. If you follow up the best regular season record in MLS history by losing to a losing record Atlanta team in the first round, that's a failure. Unequivocally.
Wait a minute. So it's not an official disappointment. It's a failure unequivocally?
Yeah.
That's a whole nother stage.
Yeah.
That's official disappointment was over here when we started. Failure unequivocally is even stronger than that.
You've got a point, Greg.
What?
Like, he's got a point. If you're saying a disappointment, I don't want to turn on you, Greg, but he's got a point in that. Disappointment is like, come on. Failure is like, I can't believe it.
Official disappointment. I mean, you just promoted the entire, from the segment started at official disappointment, and then it became failure unequivocally.
Let's agree on official failure. Is that okay? Are you good with that?
Official.
And how do you make something official? How do you make a disappointment official? Do you stamp it? What do you do?
It's got to be a proclamation.
You should get a logo.
A notary.
Yeah.
A notary.
Yeah.
Me maximum. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's my standpoint.
That kind of thing.
Vantage point, that kind of thing. Exactly.
You got to light a candle and then seal it and then put your stamp, like not like those stamps that you get at the bank. I'm talking about the ones like Kings used to do.
Yeah, with
they put
the
your
wax,
seal
the red
on it.
wax.
Yep.
That's correct. Look, when you win the Supporters' Shield, you don't lose in the first round to a team that had 14 losses. You have to win the first round at least.
Isn't this an obvious take from my dad? Like,
I mean, not according to Batard.
Like, they're the best MLS team in history, and they got to get out of the first round.
I think so.
Has anyone ever won the Shield and lost in the first round?
It's MLS, I'm pretty sure.
It's soccer.
Columbus Crew were the reigning champions, and they got upset in the first round. It's a bit of a screwy playoff in that it takes essentially a month to play 3 games for Inter Miami. Greg's right on the money, though. We knew, to the American sports fan, we knew what he'd be judged on. You could try to explain all the different cups that they have ad nauseum. They just don't get it. They get MLS Playoffs champion at the end of MLS Playoffs. That's all they'll understand.
Thank you.
I could argue till I'm blue in the face that they've won 2 trophies in 2 seasons and have qualified for the FIFA Club World Cup. They're going to be opening that tournament, going up against the elite clubs in the world. That is a major achievement despite a very confusing, ambiguous qualification process. They're one of those elite level clubs, but yes, he needs to win that trophy in particular for it to transcend to people that don't really know much about all the nuances that go into that sport.
Well, but you said right on the money, and what he was right on was the money. The fact that it's a raging success.
And you were flexing your pen today in incredible ways. You are such a writer.
Mm-hmm.
Did you workshop this? Like, you're feeling it.
From official disappointment to failure unequivocal, I will not regard the ability to make soccer work in Miami because you got the world's best player.
Well, once we get it in Miami, it's closer to Boca.
Agreed. But the fact that they've got a stadium and they've got a multi-billion-dollar franchise and they've made MLS a talking point and they've made a business partnership in the sports media age with a streaming giant, I will not view this as only the on-field success when this was first and foremost a business. It was a business partnership that Messi made with this league and with the city.
Yeah, but part of the business is winning. When you get the world's greatest soccer player, you're supposed to win in that league.
Look, of course, Stugotz, yes. Win the championship, every team, yes. Win the championship or you have failed, yes. Yeah. But there are other ways we can measure business success, and making soccer work in Miami is one of them.
And there are other championships. The championship he won this season is the championship that pretty universally across the footballing world is how you determine who wins your league. He won that, but it's also and this is 100% accurate, a retrofitted Captain America shield that was once held for ransom overseas.
Dan, you've argued about countless NFL teams about if you're not in the hunt to win the Super Bowl, what do you want to be this 5th seed for? Like, this is kind of like now you're arguing the opposite of that, that there can't be moral victories.
Look, they lose this, and they're the Dallas Cowboys.
Of course, the most basic thing I could possibly say here is a team has to win the championship or it has failed. Yes, we can make an eternity out of that as a sports conversation.
It's just confusing because they have won 2 championships.
It doesn't. Well, this is the thing, though.
But one of them used to be a toy, and one of them was the first year of a tournament made by Apple.
The League's Cup.
The thing that I am objecting to largely, beyond just the absolute nature of this is a failure or this is a success, and there are no degrees between the two, is that our measurement systems are often faulty when we're picking the best one-game samples, especially in things like football and soccer and hockey and baseball. They seem super random. They don't often or always reward the actual best team.
But this is a 3-game sample.
This is a 3-game sample.
Game 3, yes, Saturday night. Yeah.
But what I'm saying to you, because of what Mike is saying, how these things are measured, even in currency translations overseas, is it's like us right now deciding that in American football, the winner of the playoffs isn't the Super Bowl champion. The team that went 15-2 during the regular season is the Super Bowl champion, and we just changed the way we do all of that. And you can't imagine it because that's how we've done the measurements for all time, and so that's the way we do them. What Mike is saying is they've already won something that is substantive that based on American standards, you guys are going to poo-poo, and I'm not going to say that's a failure when he came over here and he made everything work. And yes, he should also win the championship. I would like that, but I'm not going to say that goes from success to failure if they don't win the championship.
What I was actually thinking is, would I be okay if they took that Super Bowl away from Trent Dilfer and gave it to the best team in the regular season that year? That's what I was thinking. It's not a terrible idea. I mean, I'll think about it for a couple of days.
The measurement systems across sports are flawed.
Right, but it's cute that you guys think they're going to lose this game. I mean, they're not. MLS wants them to advance. I mean, if the referee has to score a goal, he'll do it. I mean...
Not wrong.
I mean, MLS definitely wants them to win Saturday.
I appreciate the discourse and the fact that you're actually giving credence to the fact that the way that we do it here in the United States with that sport in particular is a little screwy, but that's how we do it here. And if that's going to be the accepted measurement, not just by people that follow MLS, but by casual sports fans, he needs to win that one.
Everyone's going to agree with you guys. I don't even actually disagree with you, whether it's official or unfettered, failure or disappointment. Of course, once you put the expectations up there, everybody wants winning. But I will also say, do you know how hard it is to make big business work in Miami? Because I'm still waiting for the Marlins to figure out how to do it. And this team became $1 billion entity out of the box. And if you want to make the only measurement championship or disappointment, okay. But I'm saying there is a macro here that makes for survival of major league things in our city that makes me not be quite that reductive.
Messi is like no other athlete on the face of the earth. When the Inter Miami signed Messi, instantly MLS was going to reap the benefits. Instantly, Apple TV was going to reap the benefits. So was Inter Miami. In Atlanta, they drew almost 70,000 fans to a football stadium because of one man, okay?
Well, truth be told, Atlanta United, if you look at attendance, I know this was recent, maybe it's changed since COVID, but top 10 in attendance in all of soccer. Across the planet, club attendance.
So let's just say 35,000 would have been there regardless of
Yes,
Messi,
he's a giant draw. Yes,
okay,
he's a giant draw.
35,000.
My point is his impact financially on the business side was a given. That was an absolute 100% given. His impact on the football side was not.
Greg, I am not totally sure that it was a given that this would be the unqualified success that you're dismissing as a failure. If I don't think it was as known, Miami has never. You've covered how many years have you covered soccer failing in this market? How many years?
They've never had Lionel Messi. He makes all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Greg, the reason why he came here is because he wants to go to Publix with his family and not get stopped.
That's exactly right.
But that tells you right there that part of that luxury for him is the risk of, he's not getting stopped at Publix because nobody gives up.
He wanted his own burger. He's like, where can I do this?
Okay,
Miami.
This is a career vacation for him. I get that.
You're missing my point. My point is his ability to walk the streets and not get stopped is an indication that this place is so soccer ignorant that the most famous athlete on the planet can go to Publix and one person might notice.
Okay.
And that's the risk in the business. It's like, what if we're so ignorant we brought the most famous dude and it still doesn't kick off the sport?
Okay, that's a good anecdote, the Publix thing. I have covered Inter Miami games, and when I am leaving the stadium after writing my column, an hour and a half after the game, I am walking through 5,000 fans waiting to get a glimpse of Lionel Messi leaving that stadium.
Greg, you just described basically going to Mecca and say, look how many Muslims there are. Of course. I'm not talking about at the game. It's like saying, oh, this athlete is famous. Why? He's in all these commercials, but he's wearing his uniform and a helmet and a football.
They went to the
commercial.
game to see him.
Exactly. I'm not go to Dave and Buster's. Go to the airport. Go to places where people aren't expecting him. It's kind of like us, right? Like if people see us on TV talking sports, like, yeah, that's great, Cote, whatever. If you go to a random gas station, no one knows who you are, right? They're just like, yeah, $20 on pump 2.
Right. That's true.
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is sponsored by BetterHelp. From the bottom of my heart, thank all the faithful listeners day in and day out of the Le Batard Show. Some of you have stuck around with us for 20 years. Some of you have just gotten here and starting to get into the tent. We appreciate every single one of you listeners because you make this happen every day. Whether it's been 20 years or a few months, thank you. And this month is all about gratitude. And along with the group I just shouted out there, there's another person we don't get to thank enough. Ourselves. It's sometimes hard to remind ourselves that we're trying our best to make sense of everything in this crazy world. That isn't easy. Here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people in your life, including yourself. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/DLB today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DLB. Thanks, guys.
When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team, faster and for free. As Metalwork Media continues to grow as a content studio, we strive to hire only the best and most qualified candidates. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, they have made it easy for us to find them. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else. Even those who aren't actively searching for a new job might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So, if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/prep. That's linkedin.com/prep to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Folks, the NBA is finally back. A new season means new ways to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Who's draining threes from beyond the arc? Who's crashing the boards? Who's grabbing rebounds? Get behind your favorite players and the prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Every point counts with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code DAN. That's code DAN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. My mouth is salivating at that deal. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball.
Dan Le Batard.
Is there back in my day?
There is, actually.
What?
Were you not going to tell anyone?
What?
Wait a minute.
You guys,
Guys,
it's a Tuesday.
Stugotz. Here's your guy, Greg Cote, with Back in My Day.
Shut up. I hope I heard. Okay, here it is. Sorry. Adultery.
We are back. That is waiting for this one.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Dianna Russini with us now. We've got a lot of football to talk about. Her podcast is called Scoop City. We've got to get to some of this football nonsense with her, right?
Nonsense.
How did you feel? What do you say? Mike Ryan just learned that Marshon Lattimore was traded to the Commanders.
It's a big move.
He did not know that.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Dianna. Thank you for joining us, Dianna. What was the biggest move yesterday?
The Marshon Lattimore. So, Mike, way to be on top of the stories yesterday.
A lot of things going on.
Busy day, yeah.
Be a busy day. It was. You know what's funny, though? It's a good observation to make and something for me to keep in mind as I'm doing this stuff because, as you guys know, because I talk about it so much on the show, the pressures and the urgency that comes with breaking news, especially on a trade deadline show or trade deadline day where you're competing against everyone and everyone's trying to get all the nuggets and scoop as fast as they can. But the way Twitter is set up now, it's so difficult to figure out who's doing what and getting what when, and it's become such a messy space that it's not as clean and clear as I felt like it was, 4 or 5 years ago, where it was very obvious, what the big story was. So Mike, while I would love to take an opportunity here to make fun of you for it, I kind of get it, especially on election day. But without a doubt, Dan, the Marshon Lattimore move to me was the biggest name. I think the Za'Darius Smith was the best move. But we all knew that was coming. That had been rumored since Aiden Hutchinson was injured in the Dallas Cowboys game. So it all made sense. But I was waiting all day and I tried to find out there's gotta be a big name, because I always feel like these are the kind of days where we do get stunned. And when you take a look back at all the different trade deadlines, there actually aren't a lot of names, right? I mean, Jalen Ramsey is probably like the biggest name. Maybe Amari Cooper a few years ago. You don't really get a lot of big names. This isn't the NBA,
Such a big move. He's exactly what they need.
Yeah.
I really like them.
Right.
That's a good team, Diana. I like that they're going for it, too. Dan Quinn, not getting enough credit.
No.
I mean, he made it to a Super Bowl and he lost in embarrassing fashion, but this guy has a track record. It's proven. And look what he's done with this team. Coach of the year in your mind?
Oh, come on.
Dallas could have had him. I mean, he
Dallas
was there.
had him right there. He was right there.
Right.
Come on. This is Quinn's doing.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, you have to give him credit. He runs a good program. Irrefutable.
Diana,
you want to give credit to Jaden Daniels?
I mean, he's pretty good.
Yes.
I don't know.
Don't discount whatever influence.
Okay, so Dan
he had
Quinn has an ability to just make magical 80% quarterbacks as rookies. Okay.
Dan Quinn is a good coach, a good defensive coach who now has a quarterback.
Right. Dan Quinn, that Hail Mary, Dan Quinn. Yeah, that's how they beat Chicago and ruined Chicago's entire season, because Dan Quinn was staring at the ball.
Not a day.
As it flew through the air.
But let's go back to when Dan Quinn was hired. Do you remember how unsexy that was?
Yep.
Do you remember because they were going after Ben Johnson, the Detroit offensive coordinator? Everything appeared to be pointed in the direction of that happening, and then he didn't want to coach there, and that fell through. So then Washington was left scrambling, and they spoke to a bunch of coaches, and Dan Quinn was probably out of that group the biggest name. But it still wasn't having people in Washington go, oh, man, this is it. This is the answer. So I kind of like the fact that he came in here with not a lot of expectations, just hope that he could build some sort of culture, and he's certainly come through. And to Dan's point, like having a quarterback. I mean, isn't that the answer to everything?
Yes.
You have a quarterback, you're good. If you found the guy, he's going to make everybody look like a star. And that's what Cliff Kingsbury looks like right now. It's what Dan Quinn. Just don't mess it up.
Was there a team that you thought was going to do something to improve their roster that didn't, and that surprised you?
Yeah, the Bengals.
Really?
Because they were trying. The Bengals were trying hard. They were calling around. They're trying to improve their defense. They have belief that they can offensively make a run here specifically, but they know their defense is older. This isn't the same Bengals defense we saw in the Super Bowl a few years ago. Same coordinator, but same players, but they're just older. So they were looking at corner. They were looking at tackle. They were trying, but they couldn't find a trade partner. I mean, I was talking to people up until like a minute before 4:00, and they were still in conversation, and they couldn't get it done, which would have been, I think, a really big story, just knowing the history in Cincinnati. They've only acquired 2 players in 53 years. By the trade deadline in season. So they did get a running back yesterday, but I thought on the defensive side of the ball, they would do it. I did poke around, though, on Raiders and the Browns to just see, come on, how many calls do you get on Miles? How many calls do you get on Max Crosby? And I didn't get an answer from Vegas, but I heard from people in Cleveland that no one called. They just knew Miles was not open for business. Like, they were not doing that. No matter what, that door was shut.
I've got a lot of questions, but before I keep going with Dianna, can you tell me about the state of Kornhacky? Because we thought we were coming in today to do no election decided, that it was still going to be open-ended, and we were going to go to live reports on our Kornhacky as a thread throughout the tapestry of the show, but he looks despondent. He's been pouting and muttering and staring at the floor since I got here. What's the state of Kornhacky?
Since I started talking to him this morning, just despondent. Doesn't want to talk to anybody. He seems to have some beverage in his hand. It's just, he needs help.
All right, be a professional, Kornhacky. We need you to do your job. You got to come in here and do your job. No, you got to do your job. What do you mean, no thank you? That's not the way this works.
What do you want? What do you want from me?
No lip. I don't want lip from Kornhacky. I want
Aguardiente since 3 a.m., Dan.
I want Kornhacky to do his job. I want Kornhacky can't be drinking on the job.
I am actively drinking.
Biased and you got to aspire to objectivity. You got to broadcast professionally.
Objectivity. The democracy ended, Dan.
This is
over.
Okay.
What do you want from me? What do you want? What do you want me doing here? Why are we doing this? There's no bits. There's no jokes. Why are we joking?
All right.
It's kind of hard to argue democracy dying when the people spoke in a loud and clear voice.
Turn down your microphone. We'll come out and do your job in a second here. But explain to me, Dianna, what I'm not understanding with the easy internet criticism of Mike Williams goes for a fifth, DeAndre Hopkins goes for a fifth, Jerry Jones gives up a fourth for Jonathan Mingo. Like, everyone's looking at that and saying, well, I've heard of the other guys. What's happening here with Mingo?
Yeah, well, Jerry and the front office there had liked Mingo coming out of the draft. I'm not going to defend his decision because I was a little stunned. He was not on my bingo board, we'll call it, for Dallas making a move. In fact, I didn't really expect Dallas to make a move. That kind of came about over the last few days where he changed his mind. And just going with Mingo, to me, just doesn't make a lot of sense knowing what he's done in Carolina, which isn't really much. But I think this is where Jerry's had a really hard season. Because, look, you have to give them credit. They've been awesome at drafting. They're good at finding players. I don't know what this move's about, though. This doesn't make sense for a team that now has a quarterback that is potentially going to be put on IR, as Jerry revealed yesterday. And they have a lot more problems than just at receiver. And I don't necessarily believe Mingo is going to be that answer, but he obviously felt confident that this was going to be good. And for Carolina, they're winners in this, being able to get what they got in return. We knew Mingo was on the trade block. We knew that they were open to it, but I know that Carolina did not think that was going to be Dallas.
Dianna, the obvious biggest question in football, if Inter Miami does not win the MLS Cup, will Lionel Messi's season be an official disappointment?
Absolutely. What was the point of bringing him here? Why? It's just it's a waste. I'm trying to think of what the comp in football would be at this point. What would you say was the biggest? I guess that's like Kirk Cousins, right? They spent all this money to bring him to Atlanta. They got to win No, it's the Jets. It's Aaron Rodgers. It's Aaron Rodgers in New York. That's what it is.
Perfect.
So I would say the same thing in Miami as I would in New York.
Thank God we changed it. Comparing Messi to Kirk Cousins, my foot started moving under the table in ways I couldn't control.
Because I wasn't looking at the superstar quality. I was thinking money. I was thinking about how much they paid him.
But
thank you for correcting me.
Can we play that sound, please, of what I was describing as a nun at a Vatican area church trying to talk football in her second language of English while discussing that play at the end of the Bears-Commanders game?
The Hamari.
That is Dianna Russini trying to say Hail Mary.
Save that for Meech.
I speak in tongue.
In English, that is an English phrase.
The Hamari.
Hail Mallory.
What is that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like Memphis.
I don't know why you said it that way. It doesn't make any sense to me. What the Steelers did, Dianna. The Steelers get Preston Smith and Mike Williams. It is funny to see the Steelers as one of the two lost teams when none of us regard them as one of the two lost teams, even understanding Mike Tomlin's going to sprinkle some fairy dust on things and have two losses in the middle of the season.
I got Mike Tomlin for Coach of the Year right now in my mind.
Wow.
for what they're doing. Yeah, the expectation's really low. What were they going to do at the quarterback position? They've sort of figured it out. You bring in Mike Williams in hopes that, Russ chucks up some moonballs and he can contest for those. And look, Mike's coming off injury. It wasn't working in New York. Everyone there was happy he's gone. He's happy he's gone. It was a nice breakup. We saw Aaron Rodgers' reaction to Mike Williams. It wasn't working. So the fact that Pittsburgh's able to get a receiver, something that they've been in the market for 8 months, every single receiver that's been available, Pittsburgh has called for, it feels like. So they land here and look, George Pickens obviously has been their go-to guy. And so now that the fact that they've got two options, and look, if the run game is so good right now in Pittsburgh that even if Williams isn't elite or the Mike Williams that we saw once before when he was with the Chargers, I still think it gives the Steelers a really good option. And then getting Preston Smith. I reported over the weekend that the Packers were shopping him, and I couldn't believe the Green Bay Packer fan base was going crazy of like, we're trying to make a run of the Super Bowl. Why are we getting rid of one of our pass rushers? But if you saw in the game, they're not using him as much. And also contractually, it wouldn't make sense for Green Bay to keep him. So I thought from the Packers standpoint, that was a really good move for them of thinking future, but also for Pittsburgh, just to add to a defense that really carries this team. So yeah, a team that we didn't talk too much about this offseason in terms of them being potentially good. I don't think any of us had them. I think it's been pretty impressive. And the fact that they were this aggressive at the trade deadline just goes to show you what they believe in.
So Tomlin over Dan Quinn?
I hate that you guys are doing this midway through the season.
You want Dan Quinn for Coach of the Year?
They're 7-2.
Let's go out to Kornhacky here. Kornhacky has something for us on the Steelers at the board. Stunning that something unpredictable would come out of Pennsylvania. Go ahead, Kornhacky. What do you have for us?
All right, Dan. Yeah, I guess we'll do football today. Super cool. They got Russell Wilson some help in the form of Mike Williams. They got him some help, and the thing that Russell Wilson knows is, Dan, it's not all about me anymore.
I need you to be more professional than this.
Me.
Okay, this is
That's
not
the big
professional
thing in
behavior
Pennsylvania,
from you. Okay, not
Dan.
professional.
We need to
All right,
help
turn his microphone
me.
off. He's not doing his job correctly. I need him to do better than that.
Yeah, he's drunk. He's been drinking whiskey by the look of the glass.
Aguardiente is more like of a celebratory drink.
Yeah,
I'm glad he switched to the brown
Super
stuff.
brown, super brown, aggressive for this hour of the morning. What were the trades that you were hearing about, Dianna, that you were chasing that didn't come to be? The huge, interesting gossip that didn't happen, but that you were chasing at various points.
Great
yesterday.
question, Dan.
While I had firm belief that the Carolina Panthers were not going to trade Bryce Young, I always left that door open. I was checking in all the way up to the final minute there, just knowing that it hasn't been a great ride there, knowing that it doesn't appear to be working with Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers, and knowing that there were teams around the league calling, thinking that their program could be the one to sort of resurrect his career and find the talent that we all saw at Alabama and the talent that a lot of people around the league still think he has. So that was probably the outside the box name. I was just keeping an eye on, making sure I didn't get an egg in the face, just because, it's a weird time of year when you're doing this stuff too, because you have to once again figure out who's lying, who's being open with you about what's actually truly happening. The Kansas City Chiefs were working phones, which is wild considering how good this roster is, how good the defense is. But they were in on Marshon Lattimore. They were trying to get that done, but obviously the Saints were asking for too much for what the Kansas City Chiefs could give up. So that didn't work out. And the New England Patriots, I expected them to be sellers. I thought they were going to get rid of more guys, and they didn't. Also in New York, Azeez Ojulari was probably one of the bigger names. He's a young defender who's had a really good season this year. He'll be a free agent in the offseason. And I had many different teams asking me about him over the last week. And Joe Shane in New York, he had a big price for him. He was not moving off him unless he was really blown away. And I guess I'm trying to understand what the mindset mindset is there in New York? Because if they think they're safe because their owner told them they're safe, why are you not playing this what's smart for the future, right? Because he's going to be a free agent. So you're just keeping him for what? I know part of the reasons because they're banged up. They've got some injuries. But I thought that he would be a player that would get moved. So, going back to what I mentioned before, though, there was no big super stud name that was going to get moved. And we kind of all knew that.
Who were some of the teams that were calling about Bryce Young?
You know what? This whole thing is an official disappointment. Again,
I want to know who was calling about Bryce Young. I do.
No, we're making shit up. Like Marshon Lattimore.
What do you mean?
This is just nonsense. We're talking about.
She said teams called the Carolina Panthers
Dan,
about Bryce Young.
It's so funny you say that. I was thinking about that today.
It's nothing. This is not newsworthy. We're not doing it. We're making things up. It's garbage. It's garbage.
Let's talk about something else. I'm with you. No, look, the Marshon Lattimore move is 100% to play the Eagles, right? That's what that is. That's
Kornhacky, what do you have on Michigan? This is shit. This trade deadline stuff, this is just garbage. We're wasting Diana's precious time asking her, what about this guy over here? Fourth round pick over there. Who was calling about Bryce Young? Oh, nothing happened on Bryce Young? Fascinating.
You know what else is shit, Dan? You know what else is shit, Dan? The state of our democracy.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Breaking character for a second, as Jeremy, this is stupid. We shouldn't be doing bits. It's a bad day. But going back into character, hey, Detroit really needed some sacks. So they went out and got a player for a 5th and a 6th round pick. They knew they were fine on offense, Dan. They knew they were fine on the offensive side, so they got Smith. We call that an SOS around Michigan, Dan.
All right. You know what?
Did you guys see my tweet the other day?
Greg Cote, penalty, 5 minutes, me maximum.
Yeah, get out of here. You don't tell people getting in and out of characters if you're so deep like Daniel Day-Lewis that we can't tell, and you have to explain it to us because you're such a great thespian. You don't tell people that.
Where did Jeremy come from?
I can't believe it. What, he's not drinking? Jeremy? He's not drinking brown liquor in the morning at work? It's Jeremy? You're kidding.
What was your tweet?
Yeah. Hold the phone up again.
Wasn't my tweet.
A lot of emojis.
Okay.
The best part is people think that was me. Like, it's obvious someone had my phone.
Yes, you're one of the children. What age was the child that was hitting all of the emojis and just putting...
Here's the best part about it. It was Michael. He's 3.
I thought you were going to say your husband.
He would have just been like, fly, Eagles, fly.
You make him a real ape, you know that? Yeah. You make your husband a real idiot. Like, just he's just a total caveman the way that you present him.
He is. In regards to the Philadelphia Eagles, he's an idiot, and in the most loving way. He guys, what you see when you're watching people at the link, that's him without the face paint though, because too good for that. But it's the same. It's the same stuff. So yeah, the best part about the tweet was it's just like a bunch of like letters and emojis. He doesn't know. He can't even spell his name. But the last 4 letters is hey. So people thought that there was an actual human, like a person I could read and write tweeting that. So I get all these texts of like, hey, is everything all right? What's going on?
Like you had the Twitter equivalent of a seizure of some sort? Like that you...
Is her SOS signal like blinking in Morse code, like, help me, guys?
Okay.
Emoji.
It's that time of year where people have... insiders on they have their alerts on, right? So that's why everyone's like, oh my God, what is that? What does that mean? What does that mean?
So you're saying because it's the lying season and the hot stove and everything else, you're saying that people were reading and interpreting your emojis as Diana's trying to tell us some secret information
in code,
with hearts and a duck and a butterfly and a couple of googly eyes and some tears. Okay. What else did the kids do? Did you get any good stories from the last couple of times? We haven't had any good kids stories.
How was Halloween?
Setting fire to the house or anything?
No, we're good. We're getting safer. We're potty training, so that's an experience. Halloween was good. Thanks for asking. Mm-hmm. I had a kind of an awesome experience. We're like an hour into trick or treating, and they don't really understand it. They just walk up. They barely say trick or treat. They just say hello. Joey says happy birthday to every single person. He doesn't comprehend that this is not his, this is just a thing in our house until we can figure out to teach him that it's not everyone's birthday. But it was like an hour in, and my 3-year-old goes, Mommy, I'm tired. I want to go home. I'm like, this is the best thing you could have said to me.
Lucky you.
So it was an early Halloween for us. The kid was spent.
What was he dressed as?
He was a dinosaur. He had a full mask on. So was the other one. We put him in like a stroller, and we put the fence around it and said caution, like Jurassic Park. And he just stood behind there and just cried the whole time. So yeah, it was a good experience. It was fun.
Was your husband dressed up like Dick Vermeil?
Or Steve
No, he was dressed up as AJ Brown, running around. Like,
Really?
Harold
No.
Wilbert Montgomery. I mean,
No, he wasn't doing any of that. He was asking me a million questions about what Philly was doing yesterday. He had some important meetings at work, and I'm thinking he doesn't answer any of my questions about life, like things like, hey, is the leaf blower coming this week? What's going? No answers. But anything from Howie, anything from Sirianni, anything from this one, that, whoever. He'll just name people that I don't even talk to, by the way.
Do you ever mess with them and just tell them something's happening that isn't?
You should.
All the time. It's my favorite hobby.
They're trading for Mahomes.
The Eagles got Mahomes.
So whenever he doesn't respond, I just try to think of anything Philly sports related, and it works every single time. By the way, the Phillies traded Bryce Harper. I can't believe it. I just spoke to him. Phone rings. Hey, I'm like, the text before was that my mom is sick and that we probably have to go over there tonight to help them. And you didn't respond. But the Bryce Harper getting traded thing got you to call me. It's a good tool. I use it.
See you later, Dianna. Good talking to you again. I will tell people that the name of the podcast is Scoop City. You should get it because she has become very popular with her podcast, All Things for Football. Thank you, Dianna. Good talking to you.
Stugotz here for my friends over at Simply Safe. The holiday season is right around the corner. That means you're away more, and burglars know it. That means you need to protect your home. Right now, Simply Safe is giving exclusive early access to its Black Friday sale to Batard Show listeners. Simply Safe is the home security I trust to keep my home and family safe. Simply Safe is a new way to protect your home that stops intruders before they break into your home. Old school systems only take action once someone is already inside your home. That's too late. Simply Safe's Active Guard outdoor protection changes the game by preventing crime before it even happens. If someone's lurking around or acting suspiciously, those agents see them in real time, talk to them directly, set off your spotlights, and even call the police before they've had a chance to break in. Simply Safe is offering my listeners exclusive early access to their Black Friday sale. This week only, you can take 60% off any new system with a select professional monitoring plan. This is their best offer of the year. Head to simplysafe.com/DLB to claim your discount and make sure your home is safe this holiday season. Don't wait. This offer won't last long. Keep your home, your family, and your peace of mind protected with Simply Safe. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Stugotz here. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. As Meadowlark Media continues to grow as a content studio, we strive to hire only the best and most qualified candidates. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, they have made it easy for us to find them. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/prep. That's linkedin.com/prep to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.